Hello everybody and welcome back to Lost Planeswalker. You're here with me, Jesse, the Lost Planeswalker. Today I'm going to tell you about You Belong in a Museum by my friend Mark with Hashaton, Scarab's Fist. This is an awesome Orzhov commander that has a blue activated ability, making it into an Esper deck that is full of potential. So, Hashaton, Scarab's Fist, white and a black legendary creature zombie wizard. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 into blue. If you do, create a tapped token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. And this is a 1/3. So obviously, we want to discard some really powerful cards, get them onto the battlefield. You can reanimate them later because it doesn't exile it or anything. There's ways you can reduce the cost of some of these effects to make it so you can do this over and over again. There's ways you can constantly pitch stuff into the bin. So it's a very, very cool deck. This deck is going to revolve around draw and discard, powerful copy targets, reanimator, removal, and then finally the good stuff. So diving right in, we have cycling because this is a very cool mechanic that is really going to power up this deck. We have Archfiend of Ifnir, Eagles of the North, and Writ Tomb Mystic. So Archfiend of Ifnir, 3 black creature demon flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. Cycling for 2. This is going to be great whether we can reanimate this or cast it at full cost and play all of our other cycle cards. We're going to be able to make a very big impact on the board. Eagles of the North, 5 and a white creature, bird, soldier, flying. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain first strike until end of turn, and plain cycling for a single mana. Well, this 3/3 is not only going to get bigger, but we can cast it at a pretty big discount. And then Reat Tomb Mystic, 1 in a blue, creature, zombie, bird, wizard with flying. Each creature card in your hand has cycling for 1 in a blue. This is a brand new card from this deck, and I believe was created specifically for Hashaton, so this is a no-brainer. Any of your cards now can cycle, and then you can cast them with Hashaton, getting some insane value. Some other ways we can put things into the bin is by drawing and discarding. We can use cards like Faithful Mending, Frantic Search, and Thirst for Discovery. Faithful Mending, white and a blue, instant, you gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, and you can flashback it for 1 white and a blue. Frantic Search, 2 and a blue, instant, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands, and then Thirst for Discovery, 2 and a blue, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a basic land. Whether you need to get some more stuff in your hand, whether you want to discard stuff, there's lots of potential for these cards. And then next up, we have creatures that let you draw and discard with Ghostly Pilferer, Ledger Shredder, and Psychic Frog. Ghostly Pilferer, 1 in a blue, creature, spirit, rogue. Whenever this becomes untapped, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Discard a card. This card can't be blocked this turn. This is a free discard outlet, which is very good. Ledger Shredder, a staple in this format, 1 to blue, creature, bird, advisor, flying. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, this connives. And connive means you draw a card, then discard a card, and if you discarded a non-land, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And Psychic Frog, blue and a black creature frog. When this deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card, discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Psychic Frog, exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Psychic Frog gains flying until end of turn. Lot of very good potential. But some other draw and discard cards are Angel of the Ruins, Bone Miser, Careful Study, Hordewing Scab, Likeness Looter, Liliana the Veil, Liliana Waker of the Dead, Nezahal Primal Tide, Rampaging Spiketail, Rankle Master Pranks, 3 Steps Ahead, Titan of Littjara, Tortured Existence, Troll of Khazad-dûm, and You Find the Villain's Lair. Now moving on to some powerful copy targets, we're going to look at some exile and counter effects that we can cast using creatures instead of spells. So we have Angel of Despair, Ashen Rider, and Urtai Resurrected. Angel of Despair is initially a 7 cost card, which obviously is very expensive, but it's a flying 5/5 angel that enters the battlefield, you destroy target permanent. But for 3 mana, yeah, this is an exceptionally powerful card. So this is obviously a great target, just like Ashen Rider. 4 white, black. When this enters battlefield or dies, exile target permanent. It also has flying, which is pretty good. And then Urtai Resurrected, 2 blue and a black, flash, legendary creature, Phyrexian Human Wizard. When it enters, choose 1, counter target spell, activated or abilities, its controller draws a card, or destroy another target creature or planeswalker, its controller draws a card. A lot of versatility in these cards, but I next want to move on to some cards that give unique value. We have Astral Dragon, Great Whale, and Peregrine Drake. So Astral Dragon has flying and Project Image. When this enters, create 2 tokens that are copies of a non-creature permanent, except they're 3/3 dragon creatures in addition to their other types, and they have flying. What a great way to get some more copies of some good stuff. But then we have Great Whale. When it comes into play, untap up to 7 lands, which is very good in this deck. Obviously, 3 mana to untap 7 is great. And similarly, Peregrine Drake, 4 and a blue, creature Drake flying. When it enters, untap up to 5 lands. Us getting to cheat season in play is just going to generate us more mana to cast some of our board ender effects that are coming next, with the Lost Monarch of Ifnir, Massacre Worm, and Moonshaker Cavalry. Lost Monarch of Ifnir, 3 and a black creature zombie noble with Afflict 3, and other zombies you control have Afflict 3. At the beginning of your second main phase, if a player is dealt combat damage by a zombie this turn, mill 3 cards, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Massacre Worm, 3 black creature Phyrexian Worm. When it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent control get -2/-2 until end of turn, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. And Moonshaker Cavalry, 5 white creature spirit knight with flying, and when it enters, creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This essentially is a Craterhoof Behemoth, but it gives flying instead of trample, which has its downsides and upsides. But all these board enders are very good, and some other great copy targets is Grave Titan, Overseer of the Damned, Roaming Throne, the Scarab God, Threefold Thunderhulk, Vampire Charmseeker, and Wayward Servant. Now, looking at reanimation, removal, and good stuff, we have Animate Dead, Kindred Discovery, and Witch Enchanter. Animate Dead lets us obviously bring something back from our graveyard. Kindred Discovery is a great card because Hashaton turns all the copies into zombies. So, for 3 blue enchantment, as it enters, choose creature type zombies. Whenever a creature you control of a chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card, which is great. And then Witch Enchanter, 3 and a white creature, human warlock. Whenever it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Some nice removal in this color pair. Some of the great Reanimator removal and good stuff cards, we have Amulet of Vigor, Anguished Unmaking, Arcane Signet, Death Baron, Despark, Generous Gift, Gleaming Overseer, Kindred Dominance, Living Death, Machine God's Effigy, Necromancy, Reanimate, Sink into Stupor, Soul Ring, Stroke of Midnight, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Hierarchy, Talisman of Progress, and Void Ren. If you'd like to check out the land base in this deck, it is also very nice and a little pricey, so this might be something you want to piece together if you don't have a lot of these cards already. But there's also a pretty extensive maybe board with some great additional copies if you just don't think this deck is powerful enough. But with that, I would just like to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Mark, for letting me show off this deck. I think it's fantastic, and I've played against it, and yes, it is fantastic. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think of this deck. Do you think there's some cards you would add or cut? Or do you think it's perfect the way it is? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. In addition, if you could please leave a like, share this video with a friend, and subscribe, that would mean the world to me, so thank you. And in addition, if you enjoy these videos, please check out my Patreon. It would be a great way to support me and help me make more videos. So now, let's look at today's Scryfall card of the day with Fading Hope. At least I won't become one of those things. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.